All right, deep breathing. Why do we do it? Why are we practicing it this month in our workout program? Well, there's a million different reasons to practice deep breathing, but I'm just going to give you a few. One, it's a great warm up. It preps your nervous system and it tells your body what's to come. Do you know you need oxygen to burn fat? And the more oxygen you take in with every breath, the more fat your body will be able to burn. You also need oxygen to build muscle and build endurance. So deep breathing is going to help with that. It preps you, it warms you up. Also, it takes your body from a fight or flight mode to a parasympathetic mode, okay? So that's great mentally for anxiety and stress and how your body reacts to your emotions or to certain stimuli or situations. It helps your body to react in more of a calm way, okay? So that parasympathetic state, deep breathing helps us get there and shows our body how to get us there quicker. Deep breathing can also help to protect your spine. So if you're practicing deep breathing and you're practicing breathing into your back as well as your front and also breathing into your sides, well, this is a way to create internal pressure, surround your spine with like a guard. And so it's going to protect you when you're bending over and standing up or picking up heavy weights or leaning over or whatever you're doing. It's going to protect your spine. Another reason we do deep breathing is because it strengthens your deepest core muscles. Do you know your abs have layers? And the outside layer, yeah, you might be able to work that with crunches and sit-ups and planks, but the inner, deeper layers are the ones that have that corset effect. So those inner, deeper ab muscles, they actually draw your belly inward towards your spine and gives the effect of having a flatter, tighter belly. It's not just the effect, you really will have a flatter, tighter, and stronger belly if you can practice deep breathing more often. I'm telling you guys, it really works. You don't have to spend a lot of time on it, but if you would spend a few minutes a day with deep breathing, and every exercise this month, every day of the week, we're gonna begin our workout with deep breathing, okay? All right, where are your lungs? Where is your diaphragm? It's right here, somewhere in the middle, within your rib cage. God made your rib cage to protect your lungs because they are so super important. Now, you may notice in the mirror when you inhale, you may notice a lot of shoulder rising. Or you may notice a lot of chest rising. Or maybe you've had someone tell you in the past, and I know I've wrongly taught this in the past, to belly breathe and to just expand in the belly. Well, all three of those are guiding you in the wrong direction. So we want to make sure we know where our diaphragm is. It's right here in the middle of our rib cage, and that's where our breath should initiate from, okay? Now, if you expand in your diaphragm, then your belly may rise a little bit, your chest may rise a little bit, and that's okay. But we first have to make sure we're filling our lungs with as much air as possible and that the air is not leaking anywhere else, like our belly or our neck and our shoulders. The shoulders rising is a big no-no. So if you can try to just freeze those down and drop those down and pretend you have 2 bricks on your shoulders, that'll really help the breath go into a different place, okay? Now let's talk about that inhale. When you inhale, I want you to think about a 360 inhale, 360 all around your midsection, all around your diaphragm should expand, okay? So we're trying to expand throughout the sides. So if you put your hands on your rib bones, on the bottom of your rib cage, you should feel, or you should at least practice and try to feel your ribs expanding into your hands here. So can you feel them expand outward? Kind of like the handles on a bucket, just rise straight up like that. So we got to practice getting that expansion from the sides. Now we also have to practice getting expansion in the back. And I like to use a band or a belt or a scarf or something you can wrap around you tight, right around the bottom of your rib cage, so that you can feel some expansion in the back. This can be tough to do standing. It's a lot easier to practice when you're lying down. So if you practice lying down, you can think about breathing into the floor, breathing into your back, and trying to raise your body up just by the back expansion. That really helps too. So let's start thinking about that 360 breathing on the inhale. We're trying to expand from all sides, okay? Now, with the exhale, this is where a lot of the magic happens. When you exhale, you want those ribs to go back down. So if you have your hands on your ribs and you can feel them expand on the inhale, then you want to bring them back down on the exhale. And you should physically see and feel your rib cage and your ribs going down on the exhale. This is very, very important. Your sides coming back in together and creating internal pressure, okay? Now, what about the back and the front? So those will expand on the inhale. And then on the exhale, they're gonna come back in together. So your hands will come closer together on the exhale. Everything is getting smaller and tinier on the exhale. Everything's getting larger and expanding out from all sides, like a balloon expands from all sides on the inhale. Now, one more thing about the exhale, okay? Your diaphragm is up here and your pelvic floor is down here. Now, on the exhale, I want you to think about bringing those two together. Now, how can we bring our pelvic floor up? Well, ladies, it's gonna feel like a slight Kegel, almost like you're pulling up a blueberry, if you know what I mean. You're just drawing up slightly from the pelvis, from the pelvic floor. You're drawing up, and your diaphragm is actually going down. So if you can picture that happening as you exhale. Remember, everything is expanding on the inhale. Okay? Now also on the exhale, your belly button draws in, of course, right? So we're expanding out on the inhale and we're drawing in on the exhale. So think about somebody's like pulling your belly button from a string back here. They stuck a string through your body and through your belly button. Now they're pulling the string or the belly button from your spine. Does that make sense? So you're drawing in. You're not sucking in, but you're drawing the belly button inward on the exhale. I know there's a lot going on, but we're gonna practice different techniques, and the more you practice, the easier and the better it gets, trust me. So let's talk about some of those techniques that we're gonna be practicing every day or every workout day in April. Well, the first day is something called box breathing. So a box has 4 equal sides, and we're gonna think about each side being 5 seconds. So that means we're going to inhale for 5 seconds. We're going to hold it at the top for 5 seconds. We're gonna exhale for 5 seconds, and then we're gonna hold that where there's no breath left for 5 seconds. And that is 1. So let's do that together right now. One example of box breathing, okay? We're gonna inhale for 5. Ready? And go. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. There's no breath left. Hold it out. 2, 3, 4, 5. Woo! We're gonna be doing that every day 1 this week in April. All right, and on day 2, we're doing the same thing, except we are going to extend the exhale. So we're gonna flush all the dirty air out. And by the way, you guys, that is really the point, or one of the major points of taking the most oxygen in that we can, because we're trying to flush our lungs of the stale, dirty air that's sitting in there. That's right. There is stale, dirty CO2 at the bottom of your lungs that just sits there in this, like a septic tank, pretty gross, that we need to fill and flush out with air and push it out, okay? We don't want those toxins and that poison left in our body. We want to flush it out. So it's very important that you get a nice, big, giant inhale, that you've inhaled as much oxygen as you can, and that you push all of the dirty breath, all of the toxic exhale, just push it all out, okay? So on day 2, we're gonna do an extended exhale. So we're breathing in for 5, we're holding for 5, and we're exhaling for 10. And then when there is no more breath left, you're gonna hold that out for 5. So let's practice it one time together. I'm gonna put my hands on my sides to make sure I'm expanding out to the sides, all right? Ready and go. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it at the top. Maybe you take in even more breath. 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're gonna take 10 seconds to exhale. No breath left. Hold it. 2, 3, 4, 5. Woo! You guys, I know, it makes you dizzy. So take your time in between breaths. If you ever need to pause the video as we're doing the workouts to kind of settle in a little bit, that's totally fine, because I know you can get real dizzy practicing these deep breaths. Okay, another technique we're going to practice is called the Wim Hof method. Now, this is a method where we are forcefully pushing out the CO2 from our lungs. That poison, dirty breath, we're forcefully pushing it out. So when you get really good at breathing through your ribs and through your back and through your belly, I want you to take short inhales and short, forceful exhales. Okay? Almost like you're pushing out air to blow out a birthday candle, or to blow out a candle that's far from you. Okay, so that's called the Wim Hof method, and we're going to be practicing that on day 3. Now, day 4, I want you to have either a band or a scarf or a belt or something you can wrap around you, just like I just showed you. That's how we're going to be practicing on day 4. We're just going to, we're not going to count, we're not going to take in as much air as we can. We're just going to do some normal breaths, and we're going to practice breathing through the back and the sides. So we're trying to pop the band. That's what we're going to think about. We're going to think about trying to pop the band, because we're inhaling and filling up the balloon on all sides. So if you grab something real tight around you, you can really feel where you're not breathing, okay? So it's a good way to practice that 360 breathing. And on day 5, we are going to practice bringing our ribs down to our hip bones, okay? So like I just talked about, your diaphragm and your pelvic floor coming together. We're gonna practice that with our thumbs on our ribs, so the bottoms of your ribs, where the bones are. I want you to put your thumbs there, and your middle fingers on your hip bones, okay? So do you see that distance? On the inhale, you're going to increase the distance between those two fingers. On the exhale, you're going to decrease the distance. Okay, inhale, increase. Exhale, decrease. So we're really trying to bring our ribs down close to our pelvic floor, and those two coming together. Now, I don't want you to pull down so much and so hard that you start to round forward and your shoulders start to go like this. And no, that's not a good look. We want to keep our sternum lifted, but our ribs down. I know that may seem impossible right now, but the more you practice it, the easier and better it's going to be. Now, you guys, if you have any questions about these deep breathing techniques, why we're doing it, or maybe you're just not getting it, please contact me so that we can do some personal one-on-one work, or I can give you maybe a few cues that will help you start deep breathing better.